Hello, welcome to How to Level Up Fast. It's Druid edition. You can see with League of Explorers coming out, there's a lot of new things sort of coming around. This is interesting variant I've got here, which is obviously it's a kind of beast focused Druid, Malagos Druid. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about how you might go around playing this sort of deck. So the first thing you notice is there's a lot of removal. We've got 2 Wraths, 2 Swipes, 2 Starfalls, even a Starfire. And of course we've got Violet Teacher as well, which is kind of common in the older rogue decks. So normally with Druid, you probably the most likely, the most common Druid at the moment, I would say, is Egg Druid. Which obviously is a lot of minions on the field, but yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's that great though. A lot of these egg druids, and in fact druids, the rogue got the rogue deck as well, which has got the Nerubian egg in it as well. There's a few of these egg things going around, and I suppose that's kind of what this is good for, because it can deal with a lot of different stuff. It's got that early game removal, which is good. Moonfire and Living Roots, though, you want to look at very, very differently. Like the point is, right? Obviously, with Malagos, that's going to be 7 damage. So in theory, you could do 7 damage with this. You've got 2 Moonfires. It's going to be 6. So it's going to be 12 plus 7, 19 damage, just by playing Malagos on the same turn with Living Roots and Moonfire. So you may think, well, it's very important to... I mean, in general, in a Malagos deck, you would think it's going to be very, very important to just wait until that and just try and deal with everything until then. Just hope the opponent's health is low enough before you do that. But this deck's got something which is more than just Malagos, which is the Jungle Moonkin. Now, this card is... Obviously, it's a beast, so it synergizes with Druid of the Fang. And Druid of the Fang itself will synergize with Savage Combatant and the Mounted Raptor as well. What it means, though, is that traditionally it was difficult. You see, this is the only card. There are other cards. So, for instance, there are other cards. I'm not going to actually look at them. I can't bother. But there are other cards like the Mage, which will buff adjacent. And then the Inspire Mage card will also give you more than what. But in general, there's no card though that is just going to flat out give you spell damage plus 2. Now the caveat, of course, is that the opponent gets spell damage plus 2. But here's the thing: for instance, in a game against a Warlock, I took out the Mal'Ganis with the Living Roots and the Malagos, and then the Malagos got silenced. But what I was then able to do is use the other cards I would have, as a few turns later, obviously. But I was able then to use the Living Roots and Moonfire with the Jungle Moonkin. So you can see that this is really a big buff, though, because if you think about it, if you think about what you could do with just the Jungle Moonkin, for instance, what it does first of all is, because no other card has got spell damage plus 2. It will make your opponent think that you're slightly too far away to actually have lethal. But in fact, with spell damage plus 2, you can have lethal. So that's going to do 4 damage, and of course you can play both of them because of the lower mana cost. So you could do 8 damage with that, and then you could do an additional 6 with these 2. So it's an additional 14 damage. It's not far of what I was saying before. So it's not actually. So yeah, you can get a lot of damage in. The other, of course, benefit of Jungle Moonkin is that it also synergizes. So you can get your 7 damage of any Starfire all in the same turn, and you can also do 7 damage from the Starfire or 4 damage to all enemy minions all in the same turn. So it's very, very powerful. It's a very interesting card, this, because of that power. But you do obviously have to consider the unfortunate side effect of it being both players. Really, what this really says is, if the opponent's board is much better than yours, then it's probably worth playing it. If you've got a strong board, you don't want their area of effect. You know, you do not want to have a decent board. You know, and you don't want something a low attack thing to be able to take out. You know, your Drake. You don't really want to buff. I mean, you don't want to be taken out. Your Druid of the Claw to be taken out by a flame cannon, for instance. That wouldn't be much fun. So that's what you have to consider. But of course, it does buff from Druid of the Fang. Druid of the Fang again, more of a Druid of the Fang is quite a flexible card. I play at almost any point. But yeah, the card draw is there with the Ancient of Law and the Wrath, of course. And yeah, and then you've got some power there with Dr. Boom. But yeah, this is more of you know, I've never been. I like playing Druid, but I've never really liked the whole thing with the Savage Roar and the Force of Nature, and even Egg Druid is pretty similar, to be honest. It's not. It seems like a very different thing, but I've never preferred that. Even back in the day, I preferred the Silence the Silence Druid with the Wailing Soul. That I always thought was a better sort of thing. But yes, but you still got the Silence here. It's good against a lot of different stuff, you know. And it definitely makes Malygos different with Jungle Moonkin, because it means that Malygos isn't quite the huge, you know, because you know it's not quite. This is not like just a Malygos deck. This is a finisher. It is a finishing card. The stat line isn't that good, but it can finish pretty easily. Remember, of course, you can also do Keeper of the Grove on it. You could do Moonkin. You could do Keeper of the Grove for 4 damage, and it's 4 damage, right? And then what was that? So there was 8 damage from there, and 6 damage from there. So 14, 18 damage. And as I said before, I think I said 17. Did I say 17? I think I did. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this will be a 7 plus the 12. No, actually, I said 19, didn't I? But still, pretty close though. Anyway, the point is, right, yeah, it's just a pretty good deck in general. So, yeah. That's about all I can really think of saying about it. But yeah, pretty cool deck, good for leveling. So, thanks for watching.